Hey everyone, in this video we're looking at geometric reasoning and congruency. So we're going to be looking at ways of writing formal proofs and also understanding how congruency can be used to deduce properties of plane shapes. So this complements what we've already done as a lesson. You have that's a hallmark from last one. So here we go, vocab. Congruent triangles means that they are exactly the same shape and the same size. They are denoted by the symbol of congruency. So triangle ABC is congruent to PQR, and you'll notice that PQR corresponds. So if I took PQR and I flipped it over, you'll see that it would overlay ABC. So P, Q and R correspond, and you'll notice that they line up with their corresponding sides. So that's the convention of writing these triangles. You wouldn't write ABC is congruent to RPQ. It's just because it's not the same conventions, same corresponding sides. So to know that two triangles are congruent, we can actually have congruency tests. So here we have these are your tests. I would suggest that you write them down or even remember if you've forgotten them from year 9. So you have 5 rules or 5 tests that help you determine, and it's all because it has to be in the same proportion. So same equal lengths or equal angles. If you are using side angle side or angle side angle or angle angle side, please note that it has to be corresponding. If you had one here that has 2 sides and the angle is up here, like in this position, that is not side angle side. That is something else, and it's not enough information to determine congruency. So you need to be very careful with using these 3 here. It's the same with, 4. It's also the same here as well, because you want the right hand side, right angle, hypotenuse, and the side. They all have to match up. Okay, so if we have a look at these 2 triangles, we know that this is going to be 50 degrees. We know that this is going to be 50 degrees, and we know that this is going to be 50 degrees because 180 minus these 2 values gives us those. Oh, wait there. Sorry, this one here is 35. So all the angles are the same. So now we need to make sure that these 2 sides, like the corresponding sides, are the same. So over here we've got 95. So this corner matches up with these ones, or angles. Now if I flip my shape over, it's going to be 95, yes, 50, yes, 35, but the length is 18 centimeters. So this one isn't congruent to this one. Triangle LMN is not congruent to PQR, or PQR. But if we flip this one over, so the 95 here, and we see that 50 matches and 35 matches, then triangle ABC is congruent to triangle. Now we make sure that we are matching it up to ABC, PQ, because that's the one that corresponds to 95, R. And the reason is because of, if we have a look here, it's going to be angle side angle. Ooh. Okay, so I'd like you to do is pause the video, have a go of those, and select which ones are congruent triangles. So you can just do 2A and B. So here we have a shape, and we're going to use geometric reasoning to prove that PQS, so triangle PQS, is congruent to RSQ. How you can do this is by setting up a proof table. Well, that's what I like to call it. So you always have your given, what you're trying to prove, and the sequence, like the steps that you're going to use in that proof. So if this is the case here for this shape, the given was that we have the given information is that, I shall use black just because it's a bit easier to read off here. Line SP equals line RQ, line SR equals PQ, and we have, what is it, line SQ is common, so they both share it, and we're trying to prove that PQS is congruent to triangle RSQ. So see how when it says that PQS RSQ, like they are corresponding. So what we can see here is that my statement is that we have SQ. This one's actually quite easy, but because of our given information, line SP is equal to line RQ. This is, I'm just going to move up a bit. It's a bit tricky. Actually, I'll move that over here so you can see what I'm doing. And the reason why we have that is that the reason is given, and I'm going to say side next to it. The next one is line SR is equal to line PQ, and this is given, and it's another side. And the next one is line SQ SQ equals SQ, and that's because it's common and it is side. And I should have left myself a little bit more space, so therefore triangle PQS is congruent to triangle RSQ, and the reason is side, side, side. If you wanted to, you can use that the hypotenuse is the same or right hand side is the same, and you could also like deduce that that this angle here, X, is the same as this angle here because of the alternate rule, and then that this angle here, so you could have like side, angle, side. There's plenty of options here with this one, but you can see here that I've used the information that's been given to me, and I've taken one of the congruency tests to determine that this, or to prove that this here triangles PQS are the same as RSQ. So again, using geometric reasoning, so the proof, what we're trying to prove is that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle EDC. Note ABC, EDC, like it corresponds, and given. So some of the stuff that is given to you is that line AC equals line EC, and line BC equals line DC, so that they are bisecting. So these lines bisect, and what we have here is a statement. So because these are straight lines and they are bisecting, we also know that this here is going to be vertically opposite, so that's going to be X. So you can have lines AC equals lines EC. It's and the reason is bisect given, and that's a side. And lines BC equals lines DC, again bisect given, and that's another side. Now I have angle ACB equals angles D. Nope. I'm going to go angle ECD. and they are, the reason why it is equal is because of vertically opposite. And that is angle. And then therefore triangle ABC is congruent to triangle EDC, and the reason is side, angle, side, because this angle, this side corresponds. So side 1, this side corresponds, side 2, and this angle corresponds. So we can use that information for congruency. I'd like you to have a go of proving that these shapes are congruent based on your laws, your tests. Thanks, everyone.